Rivers area, and he's just going to tell me a little bit about the transport in the 1920s.
From memory, I can recall the pioneer had little choice of transport to get them from A to B. Around about the 1920-30 period,
Someone from the Northern Rivers area, and he's just going to tell me a little bit about the transport in the 1920s.
from memory, I can recall the pioneer had little choice of transport to get them from A to B. Around about the 1920-30 period, the main means of transport was the horse, used as a hack or as a pack horse. The horse saddled was used for riding, while the pack horse was loaded up with provisions and essentials for camping, etc., and was led by the horseman alongside the other. So getting around the neighbourhood at this time was by horse and sulky, and for the well-financial folk, the family buggy was soon introduced to the community. And those who could afford this luxury, this vehicle was a two-seater, four-wheeled contraption drawn by a sturdy semi-draft horse and could accommodate 6 passengers, Dad and Mum in front, and 4 kids in the back seat. If there were more kids in the family, they would need to hang on back.
Did you have tractors when you were a young boy?
No, we didn't have any tractors. Tractors weren't even invented in those days. The main haulage was by bullock team.
How many bullocks were in the team?
Well, most of the teams had about 14 to 16 bullocks, and they did all the work they needed for carting logs to the mills and carting timbers to the wharfs where they're shipped to Sydney, and the timber sold down there. And also the farmers who produced corn sent their corn by ship, and it was sold too in Sydney. But the poor farmers, after the expenses were paid, they only got about 6pence a bushel for their corn. The roads were no more than improved goat tracks, and those travelling by sulky, buggy and the odd motor car appearing at the same time, at this time, needed to be ready for obstacles like falling trees across the road or cattle sleeping thereon. Axes and shovels, chains and saws needed to be carried at all times to clear the way.
So if there was a tree on the road, you just had to get out of?
Oh, yes, you had to get out straight away and get your axes and saws out and into it. And you have a big chain, you could hook the chain onto your car, or whatever you got, even your buggy, you'd pull it off a bit. Pull it off the road so they can get through.
And what about the cows?
Oh, well, the cows, you've got to get your dog out for them and hunt them off the road.
Did that happen very often?
Oh, well, there wasn't so much travelling in those days, as you'd understand. It's only once in a while that people would get their vehicles out, say to go to town to get something, or somebody sick going to the doctor.
So how did you get to school?
Oh, school, there were the days, eh? Yes, oh, us kids, you know, we had to get up early and do the milking first. And do the milking.
How long would the milking take you?
About an hour and a half.
In the morning before
Yeah.
school?
Some of the milkers didn't get there in time, it took a bit longer. But anyway, after we finished milking, we'd have a good washing off to school. Mum would have our lunches cut, and we'd have to walk 2 miles there and back
Did
to
you have
school.
shoes?
Shoes, what are they?
No shoes and you had to walk all that.
Oh, that's right. Oh, we got shoes later on, like when we grew up a bit. But before that, we had to go barefoot. And you know, in the frosty morning, what that'd be like, eh?
Cold ground.
Pardon?
The cold, wet ground.
Oh, cold. We were frozen. We didn't have any coats much either.
No?
And
What
any,
sort of clothes did you wear for a school uniform?
swimming suits sometimes.
These nice.
No, anyway, we had decent clothes to go to school.
Normal clothes.
Yeah, yeah. But when we were coming home, there was a bad slippery track down from the school to the road. And, you know, when kids are out of school, they'd tear off trying to get home quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And we'd tear down this track, and at the bottom, near the road, was a big flat rock and all covered with moss. You know how slippery they get? And we'd jump on this, and our feet would fly from under us, and we'd fall crash, and really, people were knocked out there. Myself, I was knocked out 3 times.
Running down.
And I don't know, my brains are a bit shook, but that doesn't matter.
So at the school, did the teacher have a blackboard to write on?
Yes, he did. And he had chalk to throw at you, too.
You threw the chalk?
Yes, if you didn't know one of the answers, he'd throw the chalk at you. And, yes, we always had the blackboard.
Did you have a book to do your work in?
We had slates. We had slates to write on. You know what slates are?
Tell me.
They're pieces of slate with a frame around them. Like they dig the slate out of the mountains, out of the mines, and they press them a bit, and they're a real flat thing about the size of an ordinary plate. And they've got a little frame around them to keep them nice and tidy for the kids. The kids have got the slate to write on, and slate pencils. They were made of slate, and they made good writing. Yes, I used them all the time at school. And anyway, we didn't have any writing books like we have today. No, only slates.
And did you have ink pens?
No pens. Till later years we used pen and ink. They had ink wells in the desks.
Mm-hmm.
And have you seen them?
You explain them a little bit. I haven't seen
Yes, well,
any real ones.
they're built into the desk. You're sitting here, there's a desk. There's a little hole that's bored into the desk, and they've got little ink wells like cups, and they set them in, they fill them with ink, and you dip your pen in and write away like that.
And did you get big blobs of ink on
All the time, and we got into trouble. The teacher would get his cane out, he said, "Jenny, you do that again, son? I'll show you how this thing works."
So the teacher had a cane.
Oh, cane, yeah. They had beautiful canes those times, but I avoided the cane. You know how I did that?
Yeah.
I kept in with the teacher. I did everything he said with a big smile. And I also went out and taught some of the kids when he went down to have a smoke outside. And we said, yes, he'd take 10 minutes off. He'd say, young fella, he says, you look after the class till I come back. And I said, yes, sir. And I had to look after the class. We had a great time. They played around, did what they liked. But anyway, that's all gone there.
How many people were in the class?
Oh, I think in the whole school, we had about 35 children. It was a bush school where I went to. And there was only one teacher
One
there.
teacher?
Yes. There was none of this a teacher for every class.
So
Like
was
that,
it just
right?
one building?
Hmm?
One building?
Yes,
Well,
yes, one building it was, and a little outside veranda thing on. And that's the sort of skills we had those times up in the bush. We had great fun. We used to play tips, you know, girls play tips. The boys would run down, go along and hit the kids along the hand, and the one they liked, they hit them under the hand like that. And that little girl will chase you down the road. This is my girlfriend nowadays. That's what we used to do. Now, what's the next thing to talk about?
what did your father do on his farm?
My father? Well, first of all, they reared cattle, and then they grew corn, and then later years, when the dairying came in, we started dairy. And in those days, there was no such thing as a milking machine. The cows had to be milked by hand. Have you seen cows milking by hand?
I have seen it a few times.
Yes, well, in those days, as you know, the whole family would have to learn to milk so they get it done in time to catch the cream lorry. And everybody from Mum, Dad and the kids, they all had to learn to milk. Except Dad, he couldn't do it too good, he said. He said he had other things to do around the farm that needed attention, so he got out of that one. He just ducked off. But
How
anyway.
how long would it take to milk the cows?
Well, it all depends on how many was in the herd. Say if you had 30, it'd take you about half an hour with all the kids around to help. Or some of the herds were up to 100 cows those days, and that would take probably up to 2 hours to get them through.
How long does it take to milk just one cow?
One cow, if you're a good milker, about 3 minutes, something like that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right.
What did you do with the milk when you milked the cows?
The milk was separated. Have you seen a separator that separates the milk from the cream? Yeah, you ain't seen nothing yet. Well, anyway, they had a separator, they called it. And you had to turn it by hand like this. We didn't have any machines to turn the separator those days. And you had to be like this. Until the cream was separated from the milk. It's a remarkable machine. It works on a spinning bowl of discs. It's all together and tightened down. And as the milk is poured into it, it spins like that and the cream is thrown up to the top. And it goes out this spout, and the separated milk goes out that way in another spout. Now, what do you think of that? Great invention, wasn't it? Those days it was. Marvellous thing.
And that's how you had to do it.
And then we put the cream in cans and had it ready for the cream lorry. They'd come 3 times a week. And we sent it along to the factory where it was churned into butter.
So was a lorry a truck?
Hmm?
Was it a truck for the cream?
I beg your pardon?
Was it a truck for the cream?
No, it wasn't a truck. Trucks weren't invented then. They weren't invented those days. But listen, the fellow that took our cream was the carrier with 4 horses and a wagon. And you could hear him rattling coming along for miles. And we'd get the cream out in the road for him, see? G'day, Harry, we'd say. Harry was his name. Yeah, you got some today? Yeah. Throw the cream up in the back. And he throws coming home, he'd throw the empties at back, see? He'd take the cream to the factory and come home and put the empties out. But before he'd come to our place, he would go to the hotel. There's a hotel a bit away from where we lived. And he'd go in for a few beers. And by the time he was ready to go home, he couldn't see the road. He'd get in the wagon and give the other horse a good whip, and away she'd go. Rattle, 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 rattle. Go like mad, you know. And why he didn't get killed, we don't know. But he would be that drunk. The horse used to leave the reins, go, and the horses knew their way home.
The horses knew?
Yeah, they knew where to go. You could hear him going round the back road, round the mountain. Rattle, rattle, rattle.
With the empty cans in the back.
With the empties, yeah, you know how they'd be all galloping around. Yes, well, that's what happened to that fella. And the skim milk, or the separated milk, we used to feed that to pigs or calves. We used to rear the calves on that, you know. And we used to have them. It's marvellous how the animals learn how to do things. The calves would drink out of the bucket in no time. First of all, you start them with a finger, make out the mother's teeth. And when you've got him started with a finger, you slip the finger out of his mouth as he's in the milk in the bucket and let him go. And he sucks away and drinks a lot in no time.
Oh,
That's true, all that.
still do that now?
Oh, no, they don't do it now. No. They get those artificial ones, like to feed the animals with.
So how did your mum cook your food?
Well, we had a wood stove, and it smoked a lot too. But anyway, my mother used to cook on the stove, and it was quite all right. But they also had a camp oven. You seen a camp oven?
No.
No, well, it's a big oven they hang up on a hook or a chain. They have it in the outside gallery, not in the house itself, out in the little side called the galley. And they build a fire underneath it, and they put the meat in that, cook it beautiful. And also, they cook their bread in that. And they made homemade bread all the time, because bakers didn't come those days. They didn't come around the bush farms. And they cooked beautiful homemade bread in that. And,
Did your mum cook the bread?
oh, yes, they used to knead the dough the night before, however they do it, and let it rise up. Next morning they pop it in the oven, and in half an hour she's beautiful, lovely.
It only took half an hour.
Oh, well, somewhere around about.
Roundabout, yeah. Did she do that every day?
Not every day. Whenever we needed it, which was very often. The second day, anyhow.
Every second day.
Yes, every second day. And she made her own butter, her own
Did she?
butter. Yes, some of the cream we'd save. Well, I might tell you that before the separator was invented, the older people used to set the milk in big vats, like that, see? Big vat, that square. They put all the milk in that, and in the morning when it was set, the cream's all on top. So they skim it off with a saucer or something that you use, and put it into another bowl. And then they'd get the butter churn out. You know the butter churn that makes butter? Ever seen them? You're behind the time. And anyway, they could put the cream in the butter churner. And they turn a handle like this too. And turn. Say, here son, you have a go. And he'd get the young fella to give her a spell. And anyone else sitting around, they'd give her a spell. And in about half an hour, it's churned into butter.
Half an hour.
Did you know that before?
I heard that they could do it like that, but I've never actually seen anyone do it.
No, well, it's remarkable how it turned into butter, wasn't it? If you turned it back the other way, they reckon it'd go back in the milk.
Do you think that would work?
No, that's wrong. That's a false statement.
False statement. Cross that one.
Now, next.
What about vegetables? Did you go to the markets today?
Oh, the markets. We never heard of such a thing as markets up there in the bush. No, no one sent vegetables to market those days. We had to grow our own food. Corn, pumpkins, groundnuts, squashes, melons, potatoes, and all those sort of things you needed. And grew our own. I was going to say about the corn. You heard of mud-eye, haven't you?
What?
Mud-eye, they called it. It's that sweet corn you buy at the supermarkets now.
Mm-hmm.
You get it easy. You fellas get it easy now. But us old fellas, we grew the corn, and when it was ready to pick, we'd get a half a bagful and bring it home to Mum, and she'd throw it in a great big tin to cook it, or whatever they cook, big boiler.
Big
But
boiler?
they had a big one there that I couldn't lift the boilers that heavy. And she'd put all them in with a big junk of corned beef, and cooked a lot together, because the salt out of the corned beef made it real tasty. That's true, isn't it? Anyway, yes, that's how we got the mud-eye. Mud-eye is an Aboriginal name for corn, sweet corn.
Did they have a fire to cook? To cook the corn and the corned beef?
Yeah, you generally want a fire to cook things.
Well, it wasn't electricity or gas.
Oh, no, electricity. We didn't know what that word was.
So you didn't have a television or anything?
There was gas in the olden times. I think they used to use gas. I was still a child then, I didn't understand it. And what else do you want to know? You're getting very fussy about wanting to know everything. Yeah, go on there.
What about televisions or things? If there was no electricity?
Television, what is that? Oh,
Those
yeah, I know what they are
square
now.
things.
Yeah, I have seen one or two.
But you had none when you were a little boy.
We only had a mouse organ. One of those mouse organs.
Mouth organs. Is that what you did for entertainment?
To play the fiddle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I had an old cornet. That's what they used to dance to.
And the spoons?
Oh, yeah. There was an old fellow who used to play the spoons. Yeah, I remember him. Yeah, we used to have what they called surprise parties, you know. They'd sweep up the old kitchen, get some candle grease or boracic acid and throw it on the floor. You know how they make the floor slip? Yeah, and the old fellows would come in with fiddles and other instruments, and we'd go for it. Dance and all the dances you could think of. It was really good times we used to have. Yeah, that's the only way they could get entertainment.
That's the only way.
Yeah. What did you say?
Going back to your school days, what was the toilet like at the school?
Oh, the toilets. They were pit toilets when I was going to school, because those days they didn't know anything about modern methods. So, as most people know what a pit toilet is, it's a big hole dug in the ground and a little toilet seat on it, on the top.
Did you have toilet paper?
No, that wasn't invented then.
What did you use instead of toilet
We
paper?
used them like the ordinary papers that came around. You know, the newspapers.
The newspaper?
Yeah. And we heard later on that using newspaper will poison you. But
From the
it was
ink?
used, yes. And we didn't know it in time.
Who had to dig out the pit toilet at the school?
It was never dug out. It was left like that because it was about as deep as this door.
Deeper than your
About,
usual door.
yeah, about 6 or 8 feet deep.
Mm.
And that lasted for years, and it was, I think, they used to throw some lime in the pit, and it worked into soil then. And that sort of thing.
So did you have the same sort of toilet at your house?
Not a pit, no, we had a pan toilet there. It was an outside toilet. All the toilets in those days were outside, you know, and there were any inside. And you had to walk out no matter what the weather was, see? Go out in the rain, or snow, or frost. You didn't like kind of in the frost. Always later.
And what about the people in your family? How many brothers and sisters did you have?
Oh, too many.
Too many.
Yeah. Now, I'll tell you how many. There were altogether 8 brothers, less one little fellow who died in infancy, and 4 sisters.
So that's a lot of children.
Oh, it was a lot at the time. We had plenty of tucker though. When growing your own, we were never hungry. Getting clothes and things like that was a bit difficult because there were no shops in handy, so you had to wait till they came to Sydney. And they used to, the older people used to deal in catalogues, like ordering catalogues from David Jones's and other stores in Sydney. The orders would send these catalogues around, and you just write out the order and send them a check, and they send the goods.
How long would it take for the clothes to come back?
Oh, it would take about a couple of weeks before you get them back. They used to come by ship to town there.
How big was your house? If you had so many brothers and sisters, did you have a big house?
We had one of the nicest houses in the valley where we lived. It was one my father built after he got married to my mother, and it was a beautiful house. All the other houses around were little shack sort of business, but they must have known they were going to have a little family, so it's a 4-bedroom house with a kitchen and a sleep out, and all of veranda right around it. It was a beautiful house. It's still there.
Still there?
Over 100 years old now. Yeah. Yes, yes.
How many people were in each bedroom? It was only a 4-bedroom
Whoever
house.
got there first.
It was a big race, was it?
That's right, yes.
So did you have to share a bed with your brothers? and
Yeah,
sisters?
yeah, we shared a bed with our brothers and that sometimes. Yeah. Yes, often two or three of us in one bed. Yeah. And another thing, blankets were scarce in those days. Yeah. They were pretty dear as they are today because wool was a big price, high price. And how Mum made us warm you wouldn't know, would you? But I'll tell you. When we grew the corn and it was ready to send to Sydney, the people in Sydney sent us a big bundle of clean sacks, real clean ones, and to put the corn in. So Mum would say to Dad, before we send the corn in, we'll use these for something else. And you know what she did? She sewed a few of them together and made a beautiful quilt or a blanket to cover us kids. Yeah, that's true, yeah. All the farmers used to do it. Yeah, they were clean, never used before, like. They're really new stuff made of new hemp, whatever was made of it. And they were really warm. I do remember.
So what's your best memory from when you were a child?
My best memory, the good times we had on the farm. Swimming, fishing, shooting those times. You'd go out and shoot turkeys and pigeons, but there was no law against them. They weren't protected then. We could go out shooting, bring home, bring home pigeons and turkeys. My brother used to do a lot of shooting, and he'd come home with a couple of turkeys and a bag full of pigeons.
Did you eat them?
Oh, definitely, yeah. And made the best tucker.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, they're lovely. The scrub turkeys just the same as these tame turkeys, you know. But now, if we went and shot one, $500 for one turkey, I think it is.
Well, I think that's very good. Thank you very much for sharing all of that.
It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, it's been fun. Maneuvers area, and he's just going to tell me a little bit about the transport in the 1920s.
From memory, I can recall the pioneer had little choice of transport to get them from A to B. Around about the 1920-30 period,
Someone from the Northern Rivers area, and he's just going to tell me a little bit about the transport in the 1920s.
from memory, I can recall the pioneer had little choice of transport to get them from A to B. Around about the 1920-30 period, the main means of transport was the horse, used as a hack or as a pack horse. The horse saddled was used for riding, while the pack horse was loaded up with provisions and essentials for camping, etc., and was led by the horseman alongside the other. So getting around the neighbourhood at this time was by horse and sulky.